Hello, fellow watch lovers, nerds, enthusiasts, or however you identify. This is the 1420 podcast with your hosts, Andrew and my good friend Everett. Here, we talk about watches, food, drinks, life, and other things we like. And today, Everett, I don't care how you are. Don't usually, but I have to ask because it's part of what I do. We're doing something special today. We have some friends. that we have joined for beers for the day. We have the ladies from Tenn Two here, Kat and Catlin. Hello, how are you guys? I care more about how you are than Everett.
It was very surreal watching you do that intro because I've listened to your podcast so many times and like watching it go down live. It's so smooth. Like, round of applause to you. It's so smooth.
That's the only thing I'm good at. It's really the only thing that I do with consistency as it pertains to this show.
And I don't think he's ever screwed it up either. I screw the intro up every other week, or the outro up every other week. Like, we'll have to re-record that. We'll just keep going. We'll start again. But he has, I don't think, ever once screwed that up.
It's smooth.
It's really smooth.
Oh,
it's
thank
so
you.
good. So
like
good.
we need to figure out something, Catlin.
I got nothing. We'll figure something out one time.
Yeah.
Sometime.
It's so nice.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing well. Today's my normal Sunday, so I always do long run and then come record. So it's just more of the same for me. I had some spicy chicken. I'm just doing great.
Man.
I'm also good. I'm fired up. I woke up, rolled out of bed, and drove right over here. So I'm a little bit tired. So I did change my underpants, so those are clean.
Fancy.
Actually, I even put on I put on clean clothes, just entirely. I got out of bed and I changed. I didn't shower.
We got the special treatment, Kat.
Yeah, Everett does not always get this. So yeah, it's my morning. I didn't have any coffee on my morning though.
Oh yeah. I did have coffee earlier.
Yeah, I did
much earlier though.
Yeah, I mean I got up
you have
at noon.
Beer, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
this is seltzer.
Right.
So
I forgot. I
not,
totally forgot.
It looks like a beer though on the video. It looks like a beer.
It
right?
does.
He handed me the 6-pack. He goes, "I only have seltzer," and he handed me the 6-pack, and I was like, "This is the weirdest prank ever because this is beer." And then I read that it's hard seltzer, but they're packaging it like it looks like beer. Usually seltzer cans look like White Claw.
I could drink
pretty much
this raspberry Cosmo too. I could drink just this for the rest of my life.
I don't really like
Is
it.
it really good?
I'm not a seltzer person. I can't do it.
Did you say you don't really like that?
It's the Mandarin Greyhound from Seven Peaks, and I don't really like it. I'm gonna drink it, but
How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Good.
Great. Yeah, we're just hanging out.
Now you
Normal
guys,
Sunday.
You guys start this thing off with a wrist check. Is that right?
Yeah.
If we remember.
We get there eventually. We like to talk about what we're wearing, so yeah.
So I guess in the name of Tenn Two, Kat, you said something, or Catlin, you said something I liked. You said it's the 50 and 22 podcast.
I had to do math, which was not my strong suit to figure that out. Yeah, right?
Oh,
It's good.
I didn't get it until until just now. I was like, wait, I don't. Why?
It's like, what is this stupid woman talking about?
In honor of 50 and 22, what are you guys wearing?
Kat?
I am wearing the Manta Ocean King gilt dial today. Yeah,
love
just
that.
I haven't worn this one all week, so put it on today.
And that's your
so
watch,
nice.
huh?
This is mine. It's all mine. Yeah, I love it.
Mine, like maybe one day, just for like an afternoon. I miss that watch.
If you sneak in when she's not wearing it and take it, you could make it yours forever.
Exactly. That's how we get a lot of our watches.
She knows where I hide
post
them.
it on Instagram. I do know where she hides all her watches. So.
What about you, Catlin? What do you wear? What are you rocking there?
I am wearing the Oris Aquas, the mint dial Aquas. I love this watch.
It's a nice one.
I think that's like the only watch that we've ever expressed any disdain for on this show.
And it's wholly unrelated to the watch. It's only related to a person that we both know who we just loathe. There's no redeeming qualities to this person.
Wait, they wear this specific?
Yes, so he
Like,
has that
the green?
watch.
I just got this watch. Are you gonna break my heart?
He has that watch with a bespoke, alligator.
No, it's like a
All right,
ray.
who is
He's-
it?
Oh, Ray. Yeah.
We're gonna like
Ray
look
Who
through
is it?
Instagram
Strap.
right now.
Who
No,
is it?
we can't say it. We'll
Yeah.
tell you
You
later.
can. You
Yeah.
can DM it right
We'll tell you
now.
later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Needless to say, he's the worst human being on earth.
I feel like you've been very specific though about this combo. So would he listen to either of our podcasts?
No.
Certainly not. Certainly not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
We're in the
definitely not.
clear.
He's not
Well,
thoughtful
screw you guys.
or
I love this watch.
even
So
smart.
And we did too. Until
awesome.
What are you wearing?
oh,
buddy?
and I've got my my G-Shock 5600 on the wrist because I
Nice.
rolled out of bed and I just like grabbed the things that were nearby. So when I get home from work, I always take my watch off and throw it on my liquor shelf right by the front door. And as I was on the way out, I was like, I don't have a watch, and I never wear a watch when we record. That's the first thing I do when I get in Everett's
Why?
house. I take it
You
off and I
record
put.
a watch podcast.
It's weird.
Without a watch on.
I drop it on the recording table just in front of me, and I think it's because I like to look down at time because I can't usually see the board.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
when I move my wrist around, I bang the table, and I like to make fun of Everett for banging on the table and all the shit. So I can't do it. So yeah, this is a unique day that I'm actually wearing a watch while we record.
I like that watch.
yeah.
I love this watch.
And
G-Shock was my official quarantine watch, honestly. It's all I
Yeah.
wore for the most part.
I've got that white Solar G. I've been rocking that a lot. But today
What you got?
I as well, Kat, am
Manta,
wearing
cool
a
kid.
Manta Ocean King
Nice.
because
You
Justin,
guys you have that one in for review right now, right?
yeah, that's right.
Is that
Justin
correct?
sent us not the gilt dial, standard dial Ocean King.
Yeah.
And it's basically not been off my wrist. Andrew's gonna want to take it when he leaves my house today, and there's gonna be
I'm
hard.
fast.
we're gonna have to figure something. So
It's hard. It's literally one of the most perfect watches, honestly.
it's crazy.
It's insane. It's
crazy.
magic what they fit at that price point.
Yeah.
So he put the new clasp on there, I assume, right?
I'm not sure. Can I see? I'm not sure. This it's pretty long, but it does have the divers the ratcheting.
So it has the ratcheting. Okay, so
Yes.
it's not a smooth. Okay, then that's the newer one. Yep.
Oh, I was
Super
just going to
nice.
ask you if you have run into accidentally loosening up that ratchet, because that was the first thing I did on accident. After I put it on and tightened it down, I like touched the back of the buckle and I was like, oh, well, it's loose again.
I haven't had any issues with it. The old version they had was more of a sliding mechanism. It didn't have each of those little ratchets and placements that it goes into. So that one I could see would be a
Oh,
little
no, I
bit
think
more
we
of
have
an
the old
issue.
one.
I think we might have the old one. I'll
Yeah.
have to ask Justin. 'Cause I think this might be old. There's these little channels that it doesn't quite ratchet, but it definitely
It's pretty smooth.
pretty
glide.
smooth.
Is it
Yeah.
smooth? Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it's the old one.
So
It's
mine
good,
has
though.
like I think like 8 different slots in it that it can. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
no,
that's
that's
different.
not what
Yeah.
we have. Yeah, I can hear it from. I
Okay.
can hear it through the microphone. That is not what
little
we have.
little ASMR going on here.
That's right. Yeah. Well, in any event, we do have the the Ocean King in for a couple weeks. So
Love it too.
That's
yeah, and
nice.
and then we're
It's so
recording with
nice.
Justin next week too.
Oh, sweet. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
He's a
Justin
great
is
guy.
the best.
You guys will
Yeah.
have to
Adore
like
him.
DM us some really like hard and personal and embarrassing questions for him.
Ooh, I got you.
Yeah, DM us though.
Cat's got all the scoops. Justin will never come back to Nashville.
Well, good. So, wrist check. What do we call those? This is the first time we've
Wrist
ever.
watch check.
It's really
don't do a
hard to
wrist
say.
watch check?
That's the first time we've ever done one,
Because I never wear a
Oh.
watch.
just for you
Oh.
guys.
It would be
that's fair.
embarrassing for me.
And Andrew, what are you wearing? Nothing. All right, moving on.
Moving swiftly on. Right, exactly. Well, so I know this is kind of your podcast episode, and we're just going to steal it and put it out the next day. But how did you guys start a podcast together? Like, were you friends before all this, and you just happened to realize you both like watches, or how did this all start?
I think we were definitely friends. So we've been friends for
Okay.
many, many years. We were army friends, right? So, you know, like the weird, like army friends are different than any other friends because the things that are socially acceptable and the things that you do together are just different.
And the amount of time and proximity you spend together.
Yeah.
There's just never. I mean, I have not spent as much time in proximity with my wife. We've been married 10 years as I have with people I was in the Army with for like 5 years. Like you're just always near each other, doing horrible, terrible, sad things.
So we were very good friends. I think I got into watches, and then I sort of like Andrew was kind of into watches, but I sort of like
I was budding at that point.
yeah.
Because I was, well, I don't know. It was after we'd both. So I'd gotten we separated ways because we went to college together, and we went separate ways. I moved to Texas, and Everett stayed in the upper left. And right about the time I was getting out of the Army and realizing like, oh, I need to be an adult, and obviously part of being an adult is wearing watches because that's part of being an adult.
According to Hodinkee, it makes us superior people. Did you see this?
Oh, I didn't, but that's true. I've always
Per
often thought that.
Hodinkee. If Hodinkee published it, it's true. So
true.
go ahead.
So yeah, all they did was say what we were already thinking. So I started kind of getting into watches as I was trying to become an actual adult and move out of pretend land and into the professional world, and move back to Oregon at about the same time Everett was moving back from Portland to Eugene. So we both reconnected in Eugene, and I don't know,
Serendipitous convergence of minds.
yeah. Well, we're both serial
bodies.
tinkerers, and I'm like, hey, we can figure out how to do this. Let's do it.
How
And
hard
that
could
was-
it be, right?
That was it. You know, I realized. So you're both sort of in the industry, right? You guys got started, and you both had like this knowledge. We knew nothing about
Still
watches
don't.
when we started. It was like, well, I've got an SKX, and you've got a Mako and a Citizen. Let's start a fucking podcast. And you know, we still know very little, right? I mean, it's you know. I've got a little bit of imposter syndrome sometimes when I listen to people do this, you know, and they're so smart, and I'm like, I should just like delete the SoundCloud account and all the podcasts.
And not
I-
send the watches back we have in for
feel
review.
That.
And
I
disappear.
think that no matter what level of watch collecting you're on, you're always going to feel that way. Like there are people that we talk to on the podcast. There are people we talk to in meetups. There's people I talk to at my job. And I'm just like, what am I doing? I know nothing. Like, why are you even talking to me?
What about you? And you know, we've heard your story, but for our listeners, people who don't know, how did you guys make this magic happen?
We met on the internet.
eHarmony.
Pretty much. No, I like, I was in the hobby for a couple years. Quickly realized there wasn't a lot of females. There wasn't a lot of women, whether it was on Instagram or Facebook groups. I was pretty big into the forums too. Definitely were not any women there. And I thought like I I wanted to like get my voice out somehow and get my opinion out about some of the things that were happening. And I considered writing a blog. I considered doing a YouTube channel, and just it wasn't for me. And at the time, I was starting to listen to like Hodinkee and Worn and Wound's podcasts, and that was kind of a big thing for me. So I thought, let me try to do a podcast. But obviously, I don't know of anyone that has a podcast where there's just one person on there talking, because it's incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's right.
so my goal was, okay, I got to find a co-host. And me and Caitlin were friends on Instagram for a while and like chit-chatted here and there. She finally convinced me to come out to one of the Nashville Watch Club meetups. Came out, and like, this is funny because like little does she know, I was like interviewing her for this role as co-host.
All the
it's kind of
pressure.
put her to the test without her knowing. But no, we got along great. And then we met for coffee afterward, and I told her my super secret plan to start a podcast, and she was in.
You
That was
proposed.
it.
That was it.
I proposed, yeah.
After the first date. Well, second, technically, but it's fine.
They're
Sometimes
all
that's the
in.
way to do it. I love that. So your guys' relationship has sort of happened in real time as you made the podcast.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Pretty
of fun.
much.
And you live close enough that
yeah.
you see each other regularly.
Oh,
We
yeah.
do, yeah, for sure. We aren't today because we have work to do, and when we see each other, we don't do work. So,
Yeah, it's this whole thing.
That
yeah.
tracks.
So we're being responsible podcast people and staying separate today so that Kat can edit a show and I can get some work done. Yeah.
You know, we record locally on a board, and so most of the time when we're recording, I do all the music and everything live, right? So I'll press the button and the music will come in to fade us out. And by the time I've faded the music out, Andrew's usually gone.
There's no hanging out.
No, he just leaves. It's crazy. I'm
It's like, see you, dude.
all right.
But done.
Man.
Done. No, when we record, it's at least a 6-hour day because we hang out before we record, we go to lunch or dinner, and then we hang out afterwards. Like, Kat's husband is the most tolerable person ever to deal with me 1 or 2 times a week, all day. So
Yeah.
We were like that in the beginning. And it would be, I'd come over in the morning and we'd start with red beer and coffee, and then we're like, let's get lunch. And we've eventually pared it down to reduce the impact on our wives, who are both, or I mean, Kim is mostly the patient one because she has to deal with me coming over every week.
And
Sure,
you
she
know,
loves
he's got a
COVID.
baby at home, right? So it's actually been like
Right.
6 months where it's felt like squeezing it in versus a full day. But we still have our moments.
Oh, yeah.
we
yeah.
still have our moments.
I think last
I
week I,
don't
was over
wanna
here
be
for like
there.
5 hours.
No.
I don't want to be there. I just want to hang. Kat's my BFF. So
Yeah.
I enjoy hanging out for the whole day.
Yeah, and we don't just talk about watches either. We just talk about
No.
life and
We
everything.
only talk about watches for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, same. We very rarely talk about watches. Yeah. We talk about, he's
Even
got
on
a
the
sup-
podcast.
He's got a super interesting, yeah, that's true. Super interesting job. So I always have to get like the latest. So like
scoops.
any fun cop stories this week. Sometimes
You
it's
would
really
have
fun.
to get that. I
Yeah.
would totally want to know these things.
Oh, there's
for
always
sure.
something fun.
So, are there any cool cop stories from this week?
No, so COVID has been like
Man,
the worst
COVID.
thing that's ever happened to me as a professionally, because everyone just stopped doing stuff.
Right.
Like last night, I think I went to over 10 hours, like 6 calls that were like of note. It's just nothing. The night
Man.
before at 2 a.m., the city just turned the lights off and we're like, all right, we're done. There weren't even transients out. It was weird. Not even college kids. Like everyone just shut it down. 2 a.m. Like, all right, well, I guess I have 4.5 more hours to.
But as these things go, when he has interesting stories, it's usually terrifying. He's like, "Oh, this super cool thing happened," and I'm like, "Bro, that is fucking terrible." So it's all relative, right? It's all relative. So
Meanwhile, where I live, the most scandalous thing that's happened during COVID was somebody broke our HOA sign in half. There's this whole issue with our HOA. Everybody's
no.
unhappy. So somebody kits the sign in half, and it was amazing. That's my scandal.
Those
that's
vandals.
my world. That's my world.
Vandals.
HOA disputes. That's what I do that all week
Is that
long.
what you do for a living?
Not quite, but I do.
No.
I do more of it than I
I know
want.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I get in trouble if my tire is just a little bit in the grass. I get in trouble for it.
It's your house.
Man.
Right.
Yeah.
I pay
Park
for
on the
this
lawn.
grass.
Oh,
And see, I represent the HOAs, and nobody
Nobody
likes the
you.
HOAs.
I hate
Yeah.
you already. We're done. This podcast is over. All right, that's a wrap.
See you guys. So should we get into it? Because
We
we
probably
do
should.
have
Let's
we
get
do have a
into it.
topic here. We do have
We
a topic
do.
here. So you had a really good idea, Catlin. You said
I know.
I think
She always
we
has
should
good
do
ideas.
this fantasy draft style. So
Mm-hmm.
the parameters are each of us comprising teams. So the 10 and 2 team, the 40 and 20 team are going to select 4 watches, none of which is more expensive than $500 on the regular market. We're each going to select 4 watches from.
What do you
Oh,
consider regular? What's
boy.
regular?
Right,
Not
Everett
you.
does this
What
shit
is
all the time. He's
regular
like, you can
market?
find it for like $65 on eBay, but generally it's going to be about $3,400. Not a big deal.
That face was classic.
If I could send you links that
If I could say,
prove.
yeah, okay, we'll see what happens.
All
So
right.
4 watches, four categories, 1 watch from each category. We have the 4 categories, and these are Catlin's making: dress, sports, everyday, and beater. Each of your watches has to be under $500
Yep.
on the regular market,
Sure. Yep. Sure.
and we're gonna do it fantasy draft style. So Why don't I'm going to flip a coin here. It's not really a coin, but it'll work as a coin, and you guys call it in the air, okay?
Heads.
It's heads.
It's
Do you
heads.
want to go first?
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
let's do it.
All right. So, starting with the dress category.
Ooh,
Starting
Dress
with the
is my
dress
favorite.
category.
we win this category, just so you know. We win all of it. But
Do we? Do we, Catlin?
We do. I
2
love-
minutes. 2 minutes on the clock.
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
You better
Yeah.
go.
2
Yeah,
minutes
okay.
are on the clock.
All right. Are we
Wait, what
starting
are
the
we-
clock now?
I mean,
We are very...
there's not
clocks work.
actually a clock.
Okay, I'm so stressed out all of a sudden.
There's not actually a clock.
I need a
Remember,
drink.
we have an hour-long podcast that every week goes an hour and 20. You're fine. Take your time.
Oh, great.
We talked about changing the outro to join us for another hour and 20 minutes instead of another hour. Now another hour just sounds better.
So I think this category, of all the categories we picked, this one might be the most clear. What were you guys thinking when you picked watches for this category?
I think like our main thing was we wanted to find something that was on, what was it, like a leather strap, Catlin?
Yeah, something that
Something-
you could wear with a suit, with a tux.
Under the cuff.
You know, under the cuff sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. Something that's definitely going to be more traditional. So we came up with the Tissot Men's Gentleman watch. So it's on Amazon because retail is a little bit more than $500. And on Amazon, it's a little bit more. It's $503. I will give you $3 to make this work in our arrangement. I will Venmo you right now $3.
We'll spot you. We'll spot you five, up to five.
I looked at that and I was
see?
like, oh, it's $503. Can't pick it.
They had the first pick anyway. So.
Right. I play by our own rules. If you've ever listened to ours,
Catlin has no rules.
I make up my own rules when it
She
comes
never
to
has
this.
rules.
So what's this watch that we're talking about?
All right, so the Tissot, I mean, it's absolutely perfect dress watch, absolutely stunning. Let me get to this. Man, I got too much stuff going on. Where's the specs? All right, so 40 millimeter. What's really cool about this watch is the movement, though. That's what I'm really obsessed with. So it has the Tissot Powermatic 80,
Don't
so
care.
which is the whatever. Bye.
He's a hater. He's a Power Mac 80 hater. I
Why?
think it's a really interesting.
It's a solid movement. You
It's
get an
super
80-hour
cool.
power reserve with silicium hairspring for under $700. Come on.
I'm into it. I'm into it. I think it's great for someone who doesn't have a huge watch collection. For me,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any practical difference. You know, I think
Yeah.
for most of the folks who probably listen to us, practically speaking, I don't think it's a huge improvement over what you otherwise get. But I feel you that for someone who maybe just this is their work watch, I think it's a fantastic movement because it means you can go all weekend, put on your weekender or whatever it is you're wearing on the weekend. And then on Monday morning, it's still going to be taking time.
See,
Yeah.
there you go. That's exactly why it makes sense for a dress watch. So when you're wearing your suit Monday through Friday and you take it off Friday afternoon, still runs on Monday morning.
So for the kind folks at home who are like,
yes.
"What the fuck Tissot were they talking about?" and you guys know, I said this to Andrew just a second ago. When we say Tissot, we usually say tits out because that's how we pronounce it. It feels less appropriate today than it normally would. But we had
you guys only knew the stuff that we say to each other. So.
we did have a chuckle about it. So the Tissot, what do we have a reference or a model name?
Reference.
I
number.
got
That
you.
would make
It's
sense. Thanks, Boo.
T1. Yeah, T127.407.1.6.041.00.
Jesus,
Enjoy
Kat.
Googling
Thank
that,
you,
y'all.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate you doing that.
All right,
Yeah.
so it is the blue dial. Y'all are haters today. Oh my god! So it's the blue dial gentleman series on the leather strap. This also comes in a couple other dial variants too. It comes in a black dial, but we're big fans of blue dials, so we went with blue. And for your listeners who don't know what this is, they can go to our website and check out our extensive show notes, and it'll be there.
Oh boy.
Is that a dig at me for not doing show notes?
Boy.
You know, when we were doing this category, I wanted to go back and look at dress watches we've talked about. So I went to our dress watch episode. In the show notes, it was only the attribution for the music. So I did the show notes that week.
I'll take care of your listeners. It's fine.
All right, so
right.
we're stuck with the dregs. We're stuck with the dregs, but I still think we might win this. So our choice, and we had two choices because we weren't sure if you guys might take this. We picked a Max Bill Quartz, a Youngins Max Bill
We
Quartz
thought
watch.
about it. That was totally.
Oh,
our
you're
other
shaking your
choice.
head no.
So for
Because
under
Catelyn
400,
didn't
I
let
voted
me.
it down.
Oh,
She vetoed
man.
it.
I
She
beat
vetoed it.
You know, I think that you know, for this category where we want something extremely thin, extremely versatile, and also with like bona fides, right? That Max Bill has legit watch bona fides. I think for someone who's sort of a burgeoning watch nerd, you know, maybe not a full-on watch nerd, but a burgeoning watch nerd, for $360, it's a good size. It's 38. I think it's like
7.9 thick.
yeah, under
Yeah.
under 8 thick. Man, that's a cool watch.
And it's one that you can take off over the weekend, and it's always going to keep time.
Always.
yeah, it's got like a 5-year power reserve.
Yeah.
Come to find out.
Yeah. I've owned that. I've owned like it was like a weird gray dial, Max Bill Quartz, and it actually ticked perfectly on all the indices.
You're
So
not
I
helping.
did.
You're supposed to talk shit about that
Well, I'm
watch.
just
so-
I'm
what?
just telling you my experience with it. So I mean I like it. Yeah, it's a good choice. They
I
might
dig
win
that
this one,
precision.
Callan.
No, I am so set on this Tissot. It's a phenomenal movement at an exceptional price point.
It is.
I'm
It's a
set
really
on
cool,
it.
movement.
All right.
So
Well,
sad.
you know, we're gonna have to put this. So we're gonna have to put this to the Instagram because
Oh, for sure.
I feel like we can talk some shit, and in that competition, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
In the shit talking competition. So, but we'll put the watches.
Y'all haven't
we'll put
seen
the
me during
watches
college
to
football
Instagram.
season. I'm a Tennessee fan and I still talk
Oh, that
shit.
sucks.
So, yes, I know. And I still talk shit.
I sent you a message the other day about your Tennessee. You said, "Well, we returned 13 starters," and I was like, "Yeah, that's
I
like
did
saying
not
neato.
know. I
That's
don't
like
think
saying-
that's a great thing.
When your starting lineup is entirely true freshmen, that's not impressive.
So, in the sports category, are we ready to move on to the sports category?
I think so.
Yeah.
So we get the first. The first pick here. Are we settled here?
I think we are.
Okay.
This was some caused some
also,
strife
we don't
here.
have plan Bs. I told you to make plan Bs and we didn't make plan Bs. So this could be interesting.
It caused some strife.
we'll give you our second pick.
yeah.
All right, what
so-
do you got?
We went with the Citizen Nighthawk for
Ooh, okay.
for our number one pick, and you know I think that the thing about the Nighthawk is it's sort of universally loved. We've had a Nighthawk in on a couple different occasions,
And somehow we still don't own one.
yeah,
Dumb.
dumb because it's such an enjoyable watch, right? You get the GMT function. It's sort of the GMT complication is totally different than anything on the market. You get fantastic water resistance. You get a reasonable size. It's not a small watch. It's not a svelte watch, but it's a sports watch, so it's supposed to be big. Eco drive movements, which we're huge fans of, you know, and I
Right.
think at this price range, it's got to be in the discussion. Again, quartz. So now we're 2 for 2 on quartz, which for my half of this team, I'm sort of lamenting that now we're 2 watches in and we don't have an automatic movement or a mechanical movement. With that said, I think it's too good a choice to pass up at under $500. If you're going to have one sports watch, this is so versatile. You can do so many things with it.
Timer soft boiled eggs.
Soft-boiled egg timer.
Which reference is it?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Oh.
Just the OG.
Yeah,
Rude.
the OG, the
OG.
main line, black and red dial, Citizen Nighthawk. Yeah.
See, so here's my problem with
BJ
Citizen.
700.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. All right.
All right, so here's my
rebuttal.
problem with things like the Nighthawk is it's too much freaking work to set them and everything else. Like I don't like Kat knows I'm good to set my G-Shock, and once I set it, that's it, and I'm done.
If you even do that, like you have a hard time setting your G-Shock.
Rude.
Sounds like Everett.
Don't call me out like that. I
You know
still
how many
haven't
times I've
even
put on one of
changed the
Everett's
time
watches
out
and
one.
I'm like, it's 6 days off and like 4 hours of wrong.
You were just wearing this. Yeah. It's like it's fine.
I mean, yeah. So it's just I'm not a fan of watches that I need an instruction manual to operate, minus a G-Shock, and I only had to change it twice a year. And one of my G-Shocks still hasn't been changed from March. So I just know it's an hour behind. It's fine.
It's fine.
I mean, it's still just a three-hander, right? It's a three-hander with extra stuff.
But
It doesn't take a lot of work.
It's all the extra stuff. Like, so much extra stuff. What does all the extra stuff do?
Times your
much
soft-boiled
extra.
eggs.
It's a soft-boiled egg time. That's what it is.
No, I mean, you don't have to set the
Awesome.
slide rule. No one knows where the slide rule is like at 0.
Yeah, yeah. There's like less than 4 people in the United States that know how to use the slide rule. That's a
This
statistic.
might be true. That might be
That's-
true.
Yeah. So why do you need it?
Funsies.
Fancy.
Why do you need 80 hours of power reserve?
Because I rotate through my watches too much, and I need to be able to pick up. Do you know how rare
You're
it
gonna
is
put
that
on
I
the
pick up a
Powermatic every
watch?
3 days?
No.
No, you're not. Nope.
No. Sure am not. But maybe
Okay, so
somebody would, not me. Somebody.
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay, so we've now got a Nighthawk for our selection. What are you guys gonna 2 minutes on the clock, Cat?
We got
go.
this
All right.
cat.
So for our sports watch, we got the retrospect, the Notice retrospect. So that comes in at $425, and there's some great new color options. Actually, they were sold out in one of them, I think, or maybe not. Nope,
Probably.
we're good. We're good. We're good.
They did what? They did a salmon. They did a silver.
and then they did like a baby
And then they
blue.
did the baby blue.
or
Yeah,
ice
yeah.
ice blue, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are great. Let's see, let me look at the specs here. So it is a 40.5 millimeter case, 12.5 millimeter stick, which isn't terrible. That's
But
kind
it's
of
a sports watch.
SKX. Yeah, it's a sports
It's
watch.
supposed to be big and chunky. That's
Yeah.
how it's supposed to be.
22 millimeter lug width, which that's my only kind of gripe about the retrospect. I like a 20 millimeter lug width personally, but yeah, the loom's great. Dial has got this fantastic sunburst color. Comes on a bracelet, which is really nice, and it's a little bit different than, I don't know, is this would you consider this is a H-Link bracelet, right? You would consider this an
It is a
H-Link
H-Link.
bracelet, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I call
And
it.
the bracelet is so good. Like for me, I have this watch. So for me,
Yeah.
it's, I'm the same. All of my straps are 20 millimeters, and I love changing all my bracelets out to straps. But I don't miss, like, I don't feel like I'm missing out not having that watch on a strap.
Well, yeah, because the
don't-
bracelet's so good.
The bracelet's so good. Like,
Yeah.
it's very comfortable. I love that bracelet.
You know, I had
No.
the same reservation with the Nighthawk, right? If the Nighthawk was a little bit smaller with 20 millimeter lugs, I think it would be a much easier thing to recommend. As it is, it's not problematic being 22 and 42 or whatever it is, but it's something to note. If you're, I mean, I'm sort of in that place where I hardly buy watches that don't have 20 millimeter lugs anymore.
That's
Yeah.
the selling point for him.
Oftentimes, yeah, it's like a threshold event. Does it have 20 millimeter lugs? Okay, I'll think about it.
But I would agree, because you get to where I have so much money in watch straps. At this point, I have a good watch in watch straps. But so I want to be, and they're all 20 millimeters, and I want to be able to wear them no matter what. So, and Kat's going through it right now, the struggle a little bit with her Tudor. Her Tudor is 22 millimeter. And so
Yeah.
she's very limited on strap options right now.
And is that
Yeah.
the standard fare Black Bay, not the 58? You've got a
It's the Heritage, yeah, so it's the 41 millimeter. Yep.
right.
The big boy.
You know, that 58 is such a marvel in terms of size and dimension, but I do know
Yeah.
some people that weren't into it. They, it's
Yeah.
like the dial's too small. It just doesn't wear the same way. The slab sides you need a little bit more dial.
Yeah, I actually got some hands-on experience. A friend sent me last year his 58 to try on for about a month or so, and to me it wore like a dream. It is perfection for me, but and I say it now, I don't love gilt dials as I'm wearing a gilt dialed watch, but it was a little, I guess with the aluminum bezel and everything, it was a little too dull for me in my taste. The green is just funky, and of course I love green, and I adore the watch. It's big, it's like a chunk of metal on my wrist, and I love every minute that I have it on, which is kind of weird, but yeah, I still love it. But yeah,
Well, and
58.
that's sort of that Black Bay aesthetic, right? They do
Yeah.
not shy away from case sides, right? They're not doing the Christopher Ward thing where they're hiding the depth. They're thicky thick watches, and they don't have
Thicky
a
thick.
problem with it.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna call it a thick watch now.
Thicky thick.
You have to
All
call
right.
it thick. I
Yeah.
With three
died
Cs.
laughing
3 Cs
during
of it.
your thick episode. Died. Oh my gosh.
It was just about watches, okay?
Yeah.
I'm
Sure,
sure it was. I'm totally sure it was.
All right. I think we are on to.
Can I say one thing?
No, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yes, please.
I love the loom pattern on the retrospect.
oh, yeah.
I love that
Agreed.
they alternated the color of the loom at the 12 and they loomed the outline of the date box.
The
Yeah.
date box thing is a real solid. I don't think I realized it until last year. My son and I were in Gatlinburg and we did this like black light putt golf, and I was wearing that watch, and damn,
Damn.
damn, it was so sexy. Like all I did was just stare at my watch. He called me out on it several times because apparently I was holding up the line. Yeah, like apparently I was holding up the group behind us, but whatever. People don't understand.
Play through.
Just go. It's fine.
You know, the only thing about Notice that I don't really like, because their watches are really good, the owners
Wes,
are
just
such
generally, yeah.
jerks. You know, that's the only thing. I'm just joking, obviously.
No,
I love
of
those guys,
course.
so.
They're the best. They really are.
So moving on, what we've got 2 more categories.
Yep.
We've got 2 more categories. In the everyday category, you guys get the first selection here.
Are you
In
ready?
the everyday category, we are ready.
Are you
Erday.
ready? Erday. We are going with the SARB 033.
No, you're
No,
not.
you're not.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I mean, it's perfect. It's not too
Yeah.
sporty. It's not too dressy. 38 millimeters. It really is perfect. I know you don't care about power reserve, 50-hour power reserve, which isn't that much at the end of the day. Still 100-meter water resistant. So like, no matter what you're doing, it's fine. Like you can wear it and not have to think about it. I've never had one. I don't know why I've never owned one, but this
Yeah.
is stupid. I should buy one.
Well, like,
Did you guys go
yeah, it is a perfect.
035? You went 035 for your selection? white
no.
3-3.
No, we went
3-3.
3-3.
Okay.
3-3, the
Ooh,
black
which
down.
3-5 would have been a good solution too. Either way, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, well,
can't
that's
go
what
wrong.
we're going to pick the 3-5.
No,
I mean, this watch.
too close. You can't do it.
It's such an easy pick.
It
And
is.
Yeah.
And
seriously.
it's not surprising at all, and it shouldn't be surprising to anyone that we're overlapping on this because it's perhaps the most perfect watch under $500.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
I
we've
mean-
got our sort of running objectively best watch series, which is, you know, it's tongue in cheek, right? Because
No, it's science.
half
It's
of the
scientific.
categories
Science.
are completely subjective, right? And so, but that's regularly. I mean, I think it's the best scoring watch we've ever scored. You know, because
It beats the Speedy.
yeah, by a lot. So it is really. I mean, for this selection, if you don't have one, you should have one.
You should. Yeah, I've got the Alpinist and that SARB case. I like freaking love that case so much, and I'm really sad that Seiko discontinued these because to me they were like just fantastic. You get this like Datejust almost style that just goes with everything. I mean, you can make it casual, you can make it dressy. It's just the best everyday watch. And I still consider the Alpinist a really good everyday watch too. But I knew Catelyn wasn't going to go with the green, so.
Sure as shit was.
But no, yeah, this. It's like
I'm in the boat with you, Catelyn. I feel the same way.
Green is terrible. Why is it the color? It's stupid. It needs to be replaced.
why is it a color?
Well, no, why is it the color? Not a color. Don't even. Why is
I
it
think
the
blue
color?
would be better.
It
Why
seems
is
like
it a
it's
color?
the color of 2020 in watches. I thought that gray was going to make like a good solid come in. Like there was a few really, really great heavy hitting gray watches at the beginning of the year. And then everything freaking went green.
It's okay.
I'm not
Next
okay
year.
with it. I'm
Next
not
year will be
okay.
your year.
No,
It's
next year
fine.
will be like another shade
Orange.
of green or orange.
They
And as
should
much
really,
as I-
just start doing everything in like a burnt orange and white scheme, right?
No, not burnt orange. Tennessee is not burnt orange.
Okay, so
That's
tell me what
nice.
it is because
It's a very distinct
UT
shade of
is
orange.
It's like an orange,
UT
like a literal
is-
orange.
It's literally like
It's
Just gonna pull
yellow.
it.
Oh god,
It's
she's
yellow
getting
orange.
literally
something.
like
Okay.
orange. So
What is that?
It's a mandarin. It's a cutie.
Okay.
It's cutie orange.
It's like, how do you have that like a stress ball so readily accessible?
That's where I'm at in my life. I'm back at work, so I needed a stress ball.
All right, so we've just scratched Joe Burrow off the list, but we have a backup.
All right, what you got?
The Notice sector field. The Notice
Yeah.
sector field. So 38 millimeter case. It is blasted, which I think at least potentially takes away from the versatility of this watch, but it's got fantastic sort of polished chamfers. The dial is pretty inoffensive. It's a little busy, maybe for an everyday watch, but I think for most people in the United States on a day-to-day basis, this could be an everyday watch. It doesn't have a dive bezel. It's gonna work. It's gonna work with a dress watch. I think that, or a dress shirt. I think these things are 12 and a half.
Yeah,
Thick,
neighborhood. I
or
didn't
just
look.
under 13 perhaps.
I-
So not particularly thick as far as that goes. She's not a thick watch, but it's gonna have some wrist presence, but not too big. Long lugs for some people. I do think that it's
12.9.
it's a more aggressive choice than the Sarb, right? It's
Yeah.
a more sporty choice than the Sarb, but with a very similar appeal.
Yeah, no, I mean we talked
can see
about it. And to your point, I think the sandblasted case almost makes it more everyday. Like for me, I have that Stova, and I love the fact that it's a sandblasted case because it's so easy to wear every day. I don't have to worry about it scratching. Like no matter, I mean, I've worn it quite a bit and quite extensively, and I don't scratch it. So I like the idea of sandblasted for everyday wear.
It comes in a really good green too.
Just for me. Wes made that color
Just-
specifically for me.
Just for you.
Well, and you bought one, correct?
So I've got the Sector Dive.
Okay.
You know, those guys have been sort of really
Tolerant of us.
They have been
Yeah.
tolerant of us, but they sent us the Sector Dive to play around with because they said, we kind of wanted to make a skin diver after listening to your skin dive episode where we said, nobody's making any skin divers. Everything's 200, 250, 300 meters of water resistance. So I don't need that. I need something that's not going to get water in if I accidentally keep it on when I get in the shower.
Yeah.
Or if I plunge my hand into the dishes or whatever, right? I need something that might work in the pool, but then also I'm going to be able to keep on at dinner and not feel like, I don't want a Ploprof or something, right?
I disagree.
For everyday wear.
I want a Plo Puff so bad, so I disagree.
Well, I kind of do too.
I like really want one.
But
yeah, no, I
that's
get
a
it.
very sort of discreet day where you're going to be able to wear that Ploprof. Something like a Sector, a skin diver, is going to be a lot more versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a
I
good
feel like
point.
you just have to toss all the rules out and you just wear whatever you want whenever you want. That's my
Yeah.
reason.
That's
Very
fine.
Doxa living. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got it.
It is. Yeah, whatever. Bright orange, it's fine. No worries.
Okay, so the Sarb on one hand, the clearly better choice Sector Field on the other. Our final category, we get the first choice.
Yep.
We get the first choice.
There was also some dissenting opinions on this.
Yeah.
You guys don't understand the strife that this caused between us. Like this almost ended the show.
we almost divorced. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kat and I were like hanging out on her back patio being friendly, talking about pics. So
Yeah, no, we were.
clearly,
You don't see the blood anymore, but yeah, it was.
times were hard.
Yeah, we got the ice out. It's fine. Yeah.
It's fine.
We got
yeah.
the ice out. Do you want the
Let's
honors
do
here?
it. So we're gonna go with the Solar G-Shock, the 5610, as the
Solid.
beater.
We're gonna save some money.
Yeah,
I
we're
think
gonna
that
save
I think that
these
I
are like
think that
$80.
We've saved money. Nah, maybe 100-ish.
Yeah.
I think that we're beating you on the price element.
But who
Was there a
cares?
price on
there wasn't a rule that said we
No,
had
no.
to come under a
Think
certain
of all the
budget.
straps that we
It
could
doesn't
buy
matter.
now.
That's a 10% advantage if you win the price. If you win the price battle. We talked about this.
You're just no, we did not. I have all the DMs. Don't even. I don't delete DMs for a reason. So don't come at me. No, I think it's a solid pick. So Kat and I,
Yeah.
we did talk about a G-Shock for a while.
Yeah.
But Kat came up with something better. So sorry.
Yeah, we ended up going with the SKX 009 while they're still, out there and available. And that comes in at, it just depends on where you're looking, about $399, which is actually like, oh wait, no, $340. So I was gonna say that's a little bit high. But yeah, this is on the Jubilee bracelet. Like one of my favorite watch. Like I can have, I've got my Explorer, my Tudor. This watch is still, it's like one of my favorites. And I don't have it in my collection anymore, but every single time I see it on someone else, I want to buy one. Every
Yeah,
single
why
time.
did you get rid of this watch?
Just
I
don't
don't know,
ask
'cause
Kat
I'm
why she gets rid of things. She just does.
I don't know.
Don't do
I'm
that.
Such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. But yeah, this will probably end up like back in my collection. I've got to have another one.
I do think it's a great choice. I'm not sure that it works for a beater. I think for me,
What?
I want a beater to be less obtrusive, and I also want it to be less fragile. Right? The 7S26. So that movement is not no magnetic protection. Right?
What are
Not-
you doing that you need magnetic protection? Let's be
It's
real.
a fucking
Let's be
beater.
real.
So I'm
Somehow
gonna
his is
beat on
magnetic.
But let's be
I mean,
real.
his is magnetized
I'm gonna-
somehow.
I'm gonna dig holes and I'm gonna
Wait,
build
wait,
fences.
Are you digging holes with fucking magnets? Like, what are you digging a hole with?
maybe.
How do you magnetize your watch?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean
No,
that.
I will say magnetism is an issue. Like, I
It's a
can get
thing,
into
right?
a whole thing about that. But no, I don't. I mean, for a beater, whatever, it's fine. And honestly, I don't need the watch to be running right on time. In all reality, as long as it's close, I'm good. That's just how I am.
So the beater can also be broken.
But if I'm doing something, like if I am digging holes in a yard or something like that, I'm probably not going to be wearing a watch anyways. That's just, I might throw on a G-Shock for that, but most of the time I wouldn't wear a watch because I live in the
That
South.
sounds like a vote. That sounds like a
No,
vote for our
This is why,
pitch.
because
It feels
I
like
live
that.
in the South and I'm trying to work on my tan. If I'm outside working in the yard, like I'm also working on my tan. So no watch
Yeah.
tan
You are
lines.
very tan, so well done on that.
She is super tan.
I love you for saying that. Thank you.
She has orange curtains.
It's just the lighting. That's it. It really is.
Yeah, I do think that's for me. That's the concern, right? I don't want to wear a mechanical or an automatic movement when I'm actually doing something that I run the risk of. The nice thing about and a 7S26 movement is that if you do wreck the movement, it's like a $40 swap
Right.
Yeah.
to replace it, right? Which one's
Yeah.
The raspberry?
the raspberry's good. The Cosmo
Damn.
is good.
That's the best
Oh.
one yet.
The Sex in the
the-
City up in her.
The Greyhound was a no, but the Raspberry is a yes.
I loved the Greyhound.
The tropical was pretty okay.
Tropical's good, yeah.
The raspberry's where it's at though.
So these are Seven Peaks hard seltzer. I don't know where these are out of.
7 Peaks.
Seven Peaks. Hard to say. Anyway, they're fantastic. If you want a hard seltzer,
My
this is the
assumption
best
is
seltzer
somewhere
I've
in
ever
Oregon.
had. Oh yeah, it's got an Oregon's. Yeah,
It's got the state around the UPC code.
These are without a doubt the best seltzers I've ever had.
I concur.
Yeah.
I stopped some college kids, some college dudes. I think that's important.
To clarify,
They were of
who's
age.
drinking the seltzers?
So I don't know if they were probably not of age, but they were walking like between house parties a couple nights ago, and they're all carrying open White Claws and drinking them. And I just turned my lights on them, and I got on the PA and I said, White Claw, really? Pour 'em out.
Yeah.
Walk away. And they all like looked at me shitty, like, what are you gonna do about it? And I was like, are you serious? My lights are on.
First of all, can we
pour 'em out and
say
walk away.
You're
there
gonna
should
get
have
arrested,
been-
or you're gonna empty out your fucking 99-cent White Claw.
But I don't
dickhead.
understand why there wasn't a leniency on the open container thing because I was walking.
He's a fucking cop.
But I was walking
job.
home from I'm saying on a legal standpoint, I was walking home from my friend's house 5 minutes away, and I had like a Yeti cup of wine, and I just happened to walk past a school parking lot that a cop always sits in, who watched me leave my friend's house, and he stopped me. He gave me a warning, but it made
Yeah,
me
that's
dump it
it.
out. which is
Put it
was
in
rude.
an Nalgene like a normal person,
like
like a normal alcoholic.
I super
Like we
rarely
do.
take it for
I
open
didn't
containers.
Know, I didn't know that I was going to be like leaving as early as I did. I thought that I would finish it. Really, it's amateur move on my part. I'll
amateur hour.
accept it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For real.
Yeah, so
My bad.
I made fun of them. I made them feel bad and pour out their White Claws. If they were carrying this, I probably wouldn't have said anything because it looks like a beer.
It looks
So when you're a current or former Army member, you have access to this hotel in Honolulu called Halikoa, and it's not the best hotel, but it's in a great location. It's on the beach, and they have, because it's an Army post, they have an AFES, PX is in the common parlance, and at the PX you can buy duty-free booze. So $30 half gallons of Bacardi or whatever, right? The booze is super
It's like
cheap.
Costco.
yeah.
That's right.
It's like
That's
buying,
right.
buying booze at Costco.
But when you and no sales tax, no nothing. So, but when you go to the pool, or the pool complex area, you're not allowed to have alcohol from that they don't sell. So they sell a marked up booze there. But you're allowed to have a water bottle,
Yep.
right? So we would just go get like a gallon of the Paso guava juice and a bunch of rum from the PX and fill up our Nalgene's and just drink constantly. And I think everybody does that. Everybody drinks out of Nalgene's at
Because
the pool.
who wants to pay like
No.
resort prices for anything?
$9 for a Mai Tai,
No.
right? A
$9
watered down
is
Mai Tai.
cheap too. So $9 is like a beer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done our watches. We're at 55 minutes.
Oh.
So
look
we're
at
at about
us.
the normal.
Probably 52 minutes. So I think for now we're done. But I'm gonna review our choices. Okay.
Okay.
So in the dress range, you did a Tissot T7 that was overpriced, and you get a demerit. But it does have a Powermatic 80 in it. We did the Max Bill Quartz Chrono. Max Bill Quartz dress watch. In the sports category, we went with the Alpinist. Nope.
No.
We went with
Nighthawk.
the Citizen Nighthawk.
Yeah.
We went with the
I'm
Citizen
glad
Nighthawk.
y'all know your choices.
And you guys went with the Notice Retrospect. In the everyday, you guys picked the fantastic SARB 033. We picked the Notice Sector Field. And in the beater, we went with the Solar GWM 5610 Square G. And you guys went with the, what'd you call it again?
SKX 009.
SKX 009. So those are our choices. What we will do is this Thursday, we will post a story segment where you get to choose this or that. And you're going to have to choose between the Catlin's lineup or our lineup. And the winner of those lineups is going to be featured in the next New York Times article on the best watch.
You know what we could do,
podcasts.
I'm gonna float this. I think we present these, we choose these, pick this or that on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Of the following week?
No, before this goes live,
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
so that when they hear this, we will already know the true winners
but
of
so
the selections.
how is it going? How do we prohibit voting, like fluffing of the votes?
Oh, no, we
If
are
it's
going
going
to
to
we,
be-
we are going
vote
to
hundreds of
feel
times.
like
I have
that-
3,000 Instagram accounts.
You guys get to post it. I feel like we should also post it, and then we can take an average score between our two.
I accept that, but I think we do it before this episode goes live,
Which
so that
is-
there's no bias in the voting,
What-
because we all know that people like you guys more than they like us.
Why don't we just so we post it on Tuesday, we make it anonymous.
all right, fair. So we
We can both post it. We'll post it on Tuesday, and we will not attribute the selections to any one team.
this sounds fair.
Yeah.
And
I
now,
like
as people
that.
are listening, they'll be like, I knew I didn't want to vote for Everett and Andrew 'cause they suck."
And we are going to fluff the shit out of it.
Yeah.
This season.
Yeah, 3,000 accounts. All of our followers are me.
You have way too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
So, on that note, one of the things we do here, and you guys know this, is every episode we talk about another thing we like, some other thing in the last week or 2 weeks that's caught our attention and that we're digging on. I'd love to start with you guys. Other things, Catlin, what do you think?
Oh, I was hoping Kat was going to go first.
Okay, other things, Kat, go.
Right now, so I've gotten actually back into a series that I have watched in the past, but it's called Tales by Light, and it's on
I was
Netflix.
hoping you weren't going to say that so that I could say that.
Oh, sorry, Boo.
You should have gone first, dum dum. I served it up to you.
So it's basically a series and follows various photographers as they take these really, really famous shots that we've all seen, whether it's through National Geographic or, just media. But yeah, it's super interesting. There's animal stuff, wildlife, and it's amazing. It's an amazing show. So yeah, I'm getting back into that. It's inspiring me a little bit.
Is it technical? Is it?
It's not overly technical.
It's not
I would
overly
say.
technical, but they do talk a little bit about how they capture some of the shots and composition and stuff like that. But it's still interesting, even if you're not like a big photographer.
Where can I watch it?
Netflix,
America. Tales by Light?
Tales by Light. I think there's like 3 or 4 seasons on there now.
Yeah, I think there's 3.
Sorry, Catlin.
It's fine. I was hoping maybe you were more interesting than I am and that you had something else so that I could use that. But
I'm not.
It's fine. Okay. Well, so I just downloaded the sheet music this is very specific to me, to Devil Went Down in Georgia so that I can play. I play violin. Not often anymore, but I do play, and I was playing this morning, and I was reminded that my grandfather bought my violin for me, and that was one of the things he always wanted me to play, and I just never got around to it before he passed, so I am going to learn these ridiculous solos, and The Devil Went Down in Georgia.
Charlie Daniels.
Every time I hear somebody playing violin, I'm like, God damn it, I need to learn how to do that.
It's so cool.
Because this is about the coolest talent on the planet.
I'm rusty as hell, like... My poor son this morning was probably not so entertained by me playing violin at like 9 o'clock, but it's fine. Whatever.
So being from the South and being a violin player, you may know this, but do you know what the difference between a violin and a fiddle is?
It's whatever mood I wake up in that day.
America.
A violin has strings, and a violin and a fiddle has strings.
Way to mess up your messed it
I
up.
know. Hold on, I'm going to start again. A violin has strings, and a fiddle has strings.
What? I've never heard that before. Oh my gosh. So funny.
I was really hoping you were going to say something dumb and wrong.
No, that is dumb and wrong.
It's
No,
way
it's
dumb
true.
and way wrong. But
I thought being from the South, you guys might know that already. You didn't
Yeah.
know, but now you do.
Lesson learned.
thank you. Thank you
The
for
more you know.
educating. Yes, thank you so much for educating us. Had no
Other
idea.
things,
What you got?
Mr. Roberts, go.
Okay, so I started this show a little bit late in the season. It is called The Great. It's available on Hulu, and it is a really kind of weird, fun, almost like stage theater retelling of Catherine the Great's rise to power.
Huh.
It has Elle Fanning as Catherine the Great, and
Which is such a great choice.
right, and it's and I say it's like stage theater because it is simultaneously over and underproduced. The costuming is really, really big and flamboyant. It's got like modern infused comedy. It feels kind of like a satire, but it's not. Like, it's got a great story. The acting is terrific. My wife started it while I was at work because that's what she does. Like, I don't get time to watch my stories anymore because she's always home and the kids are always home. So she watches TV, and then I get home. She's like, "Hey, do you mind if we watch this?" I'm like, I don't care. I'm not even gonna watch it. And then I watched it, and I loved it. There's one season available on Netflix or on Hulu. It is really fun. I did not think I was gonna like it, and turns out I really do like it. And I'm super bummed that there's only one season available.
Isn't that the worst?
Yeah.
My least favorite thing is when I read a lot, and when I start a book, like at the end of the second book, where the third book is still like going to be released forthcoming, sure. Oh,
In
I,
5 years.
worst.
I have one better. I feel like when you're binge watching a show, there needs to be an alert that pops up that says you're about to watch the last episode.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Because
don't-
you
they
think
don't
there's
need to ask
more, and there's not, and you're super pissed off.
Yeah.
They don't need to ask you if you're still watching. They need
Right.
to. They need to emotionally prepare you that, like, hey, bro, you're
Like, this
almost
is
done.
it. Like, get ready. Right.
Yeah.
The worst. All right, what do you
Or
have?
Netflix needs to put on their tile like this show has been canceled and you're never gonna get resolution.
Oh, yeah. Wah, wah.
What you got?
Well, so I've got one. And normally when we do other things, it was like I watched this new thing that I was excited about, or I found this thing that I didn't expect to like. This is different than that.
Okay.
This is different than that. I watched a movie for the first time. A movie that I've avoided watching because it is universally considered to be terrible. And so M. Night Shyamalan, do you guys know this fellow,
Yes.
M. Night Shyamalan? He's a director,
Yeah.
producer. And he's made some good movies and some not
Is that
great
a real
movies.
question?
Like
a lot of
the
not
last,
great. It's fine.
a lot
Yeah,
of
mostly
movies.
not great.
Mostly
So
not.
one of the movies that he made is called The Village.
Ugh.
Oh,
You're gonna tell me
The
that you
Village.
like that?
I really
No, I
enjoyed
love The Village. I love
The
that
Village
one.
is one of his better, I would say.
I think it's so good. So that's not the movie though. The movie I watched
Cool
is a
story,
Mark
bro.
Wahlberg movie called The Happening.
It's
Oh,
so
that's
bad.
terrible.
Oh, you've
That
not
one's
seen
terrible.
That Happening?
And so I finally decided. So my family's out of town. My family went to California, and I miss them very much. But sitting in the living room at night, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So I pull up this movie, and I think, I never watched this. And The Village was really good. And this movie is very universally panned. Everybody says it's terrible, but I bet that there are redeeming qualities. I bet that it's better than I expect. And so I got about 30 minutes in, and I texted, we've got a regular text message chain between Andrew, me, and Will, the watch clicker, who's a good friend of ours. And I text them about 40 minutes into the movie, and I say, I think this movie is unfairly reviled.
Oh, yeah?
I-
How'd you
I
feel at
think
the
it's
end?
better. So, and then I think it was less than 30 minutes later that I said, update. Yeah, no, it's a turd. And it was so bad. I
so
don't
bad.
know that there are any redeeming qualities to that movie.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg, Zoe
No.
Deschanel, and you think I've got Zoe.
Did you say Mark Wahlberg is not redeeming?
What is your...
Not in that. I feel like the
He
acting
doesn't
is
have to
terrible.
act redeeming. He just has
No.
to look redeeming, okay?
He's so
Precisely.
hunky.
Yeah.
He's so hunky.
Yeah.
Who are
gotta be
you
a
right
little
now? No.
Who are you?
He just needs
Come
to
on.
look pretty and keep his mouth
just need to-
shut, and I'm
that's-
okay
that's-
with that.
The show or the
No.
movie he did about the bodybuilder. That was the only reason that movie was good because he's never in a shirt.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah,
which movie is this? I don't think I know
What
what
is
this
it?
is.
Oh, the
Hey, he made it up, but it doesn't matter.
No, it's-
it doesn't
he's-
matter because
I'm
the point is still
add
good.
this
He's
to
doing
my-
like inverted sit-ups.
Inverted sit-ups. So anyway, I brought it up because I said, someday you're going to be sitting in your front room. You at home are going to be sitting in your front room. You say, well, maybe I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try.
But don't.
Don't do it. You don't need to do it.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Zoe Deschanel, awful. Mark Wahlberg, awful. Script, awful.
Directing, awful.
But the
So
problem is
fucking bad.
all of his endings are the worst endings you could ever imagine.
No.
Yes.
Or they're good.
No,
It-
they're
it-
not.
they're good.
No.
It's Knife's Edge though.
No.
There's
Or they're
no
good.
in between.
No.
Pain and Gain was the movie I was talking about. It was him and The Rock.
Yeah,
Oh,
Pain and
yeah.
Gain, that was good.
I'm going to add that
was
one
good.
to my...
Right? It's Mark and The Rock.
No, you did. You bring something up. Sometimes his endings are really good, right? Sixth Sense, The Village, both fantastic endings.
Yeah.
This one less.
That was a good
Less
one.
so. Signs is
Signs?
good.
Signs
Yeah.
was the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Signs is
Scary.
good.
Scary.
It to this day bothers me.
I judge you.
Don't know why.
It's
I
really
don't
good.
even like scary movies, and
No, me either.
that did not scare me, and I judge you.
Okay, judge me all you want. Signs is like disturbing to me. I can watch regular ass horror movies, not a big deal. Signs upsetting.
I can't watch horror
So-
movies.
Cat and Catlin, I think it's about time to wrap. But for those listeners who are here today and maybe are living under rocks or in holes and haven't heard of you,
Have only one podcast subscription somehow.
you've got a podcast, you've got a website. Where can people find you guys?
Yeah, people can find us on pretty much every major podcast platform. Our podcast is called Tenn Two, and it's spelled Tenn because we're from Tennessee.
I see what you did there. Oops.
Yeah, we didn't do it. Somebody else did, but it was really cute, so we went with it. On Instagram and Facebook, we are. Oh, and Twitter. That's a new thing. We're at
I saw that.
We're at Tenn Two Media, and then you can find our website, which is www.tenn2.com.
Wait, say it again.
www.tenn2.com.
No, but that's not what you said.
That is what I said.
Okay.
What did I say?
I don't know.
The W's sounded weird.
It was like weeda.
Because y'all are making fun of the way I talk now. This is the
Yeah.
worst
You've got an
podcast
accent.
I've
That's you
ever
got a weird
been
accent.
on.
Are you from the South or something? So you guys, listen. We've talked about these. We talked about Tenn Two on the show before. It's my favorite podcast. I think Andrew doesn't listen to podcasts anymore, but if he did, it would be his favorite too. It's my favorite watch podcast.
Well, thank you.
Aw.
And they're great, right? Just regularly fantastic guests, fantastic content, and so we recommend them. If you're not following them, I recommend doing so. Andrew, anything else you want to add?
Nah.
Well,
Kat?
and let's do this because we're going to air this episode as well. Where can people
Oh,
find
please.
the guys over at 40 and 20?
You know, pretty much just Spotify.
Okay. All right. And that wraps that up.
So the 40 and 20 podcast. So we're on Instagram at 40 and 20, as well as on just about every single podcast player there is. And we even have a Spotify. We even have a Spotify account now, which is,
Are we premium? Like Joe?
I'm premium.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm wondering when Spotify's going to reach out and be like, hey, we'll offer you $5 to stop.
Oh boy. We're in murky water right now. We're in murky water, you guys. We're in murky water.
That's kind of our life.
It's fine.
Well, thank you guys for joining us this week, and thank you for joining us for another episode of 40 and 20. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram. Check us out on patreon.com. That's where we get all the support for the show. And don't forget to tune in next week for another hour of watches, food, drinks, life, and other things we like.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.